Guys, Deluded Gooner, it's me again. Obviously, Arsenal just beat Spurs 2-0. I've got a couple more thoughts. Now, do you guys see why I might come across as pessimistic or negative about Arsenal? It's not because I'm negative at all. You see performances against Spurs, and what do we always say? We need to do this more often, to the point where I'm not in that no more. How does that happen more often? You can either blame at Wenger, or you can pin the blame at the players not being motivated. Whatever it is, it is a mixture of both. But whatever it is, we don't know. That's what you got to do more often. That's what wins titles. You do that week in, week out, and half the time, if you do that week in, week out, like I said before on previous things, you win games you might not necessarily deserve to win, or you don't lose games you necessarily deserve to lose. These are the sort of things that happen. Don't get me wrong, there were some things we could have done a bit better in that game. We could have cleared our lines a bit better. What, we can't clear our lines. I took to save our lives. How many times did you see people slicing the ball and it's going back into our own box or getting caught? I know it's very good and that we play lovely intricate passes and it's very good that we play not blind passes but passes where we expect our players to be our fellow teammates to be, because that helps with the movement. But it's not all the time do that. We're giving the ball away, and especially touching upon giving the ball away, checks distribution can improve. But these are just a couple more things. Like, to be honest, clearing our lines and at times getting caught on the counters is probably the only things I could find fault with today. And probably not scoring a bit more. We should have had 3 or 4 based on what he did. But it was a committed performance. We smelt blood and we went for it. But this is what makes titles. Before I started waffling and almost forgot what I wanted to say. This is what title winners do. It's about doing this game in, game out. Game in, game out. Look at City. City might have a couple bad games at a certain period and this might not hold any weight, but they're motivated. The players are motivated. They're ready to go out there and do the same thing week after week. That's what makes title challenges. But too often or not, that doesn't happen for Arsenal. So I can't be blindly optimistic. Yes, we put in a mad performance today. I'm excited. And you give credit where it's due to the boys. And while we're on that, we need to give credit to Wenger as well. He deserves all the critics he gets, but too often than not, when we put in wins, especially big games, when they don't have to, often than not, he doesn't get praised. He got the tactics spot on today. He kept faith in Ramsey and Xhaka when, let's be honest, whether you wanted Xhaka out like some or you wanted to take Ramsey out of the side and bring Wilshere, whatever you wanted to do, you didn't want that. They proved him right today. They were central to our play as well in Ramsey and Xhaka. They pressed high as well. He thingy as well. He started the big boys in Ozil and Alexis Sanchez. How many people said, "Oh, we need to do what we did against Chelsea, drop them. We don't need them." If it went against us today the typical performance that many people expected, in the sense that, one second, people. Yeah, in the sense that people thought it was going to be the typical Arsenal meltdown. You know how it goes when we lose. The first thing people would have said is, "Oh, Alexis and Ozil, they're not committed. They're not this, they're not that," which is still true, but they're not committed, they're not that. So he kept faith in them. Even them two, if they're not galvanized week in, week out, of course they play. Don't get me wrong, when they play well, sometimes people take it over the top. And when they play bad, I don't feel people get onto them enough. They're human. They're going to have good and bad games. Yes, they should step up on a more consistent basis. But it's down to them to be galvanized. Are you really going to tell me? This is what I'm saying. If we put performances like that week in, week out from the start of the season, if we thought about the away games and turning up, and we did this from last season, and we kept this going from the start of the season, you're going to tell me you can't get top 4, regardless of who United have in, all them players they bought, and all the City players, and how strong Chelsea look, and how good Spurs have been for how many years. Are you really going to tell me you couldn't get top 4? We missed out on top 4 by a point. Of course, it's not going to be like that this season. We missed out by a point because we shot ourselves in the foot. We have shot ourselves in the foot against Watford, against City. However many games we've shot ourselves and not taken 3 points when we could have, or not got at least a point when we should have. That's why I'm typically pessimistic about Arsenal, because the things we need to show, like I've said previously, performances like this, we show just enough to make you think, oh man, we can turn a corner. And then we show other performances. We've got a decent run on paper of fixtures coming out, excluding United. I'm pretty sure we've got United. So to do something, it's a difficult month. Everybody knows. Everybody in their nan knows. Arsenal in November is bookie. Arsenal are a bookie club, but it's bookie more time. So yeah, we did our thing. I do think Pochettino, I've already said it in a previous video, but Poch got his tactics a bit wrong, and he is moving a bit like Wenger in that he said the game was close, but the decisions went your way. You could say the game was close. You could also say your Spurs were never in it. And if you're honest, regardless of the decisions, if Spurs played massively better than they have in previous games, regardless of the ref decision, they would have got something out of the game. So I'm not a fan of when managers do that, to be honest. It's just it's a cop out. But yeah, man, this is what we need to do on a more consistent basis. We might be here at Burnley and say we didn't win. We might win and keep it keep it continuing. But these are the months, the Novembers, the Decembers. You get out of this. You go through January. You see where you are. You don't look at anyone around you. Obviously, you keep an eye on what they're doing. That's common sense. But you win. You not look too far ahead of you. Don't look at who you're playing 3 games ahead. You think about your games that you have right in front of you. You take your 3 points, and then you see where you are in the season. We don't have this cerebral approach enough. So how can I be ridiculously optimistic about us? Credit to the boys, credit to Wenger for them things today, because they did what they had to do and they stand up, they showed fight, commitment, and everything every Arsenal fan wanted to see. We give it to them. It's Koscielny's 300 for something performance in an Arsenal shirt. Credit to him. Pochettino's now what 1-in-17 against the top 6. That's a very poor record for someone like Pochettino, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, man. Tactically, we outdone Spurs today, but it's about doing this week in, week out, making Arsenal difficult to beat, which at times it's not. And if you want to be really harsh, we were all over Spurs today, and they wouldn't go in the game. But there were incidences. If they scored, different things could have happened. If Eriksen didn't hit that post, if Kane wasn't with that knee injury and was less static, and he could have definitely scored 2 headers. Dele had a shocker today. If he normally does what he normally does, if some of the fullbacks put in a bit more crosses, if Dembele was helped in driving the midfield forward a bit more, if Spurs just didn't have that overconfidence, what could have happened today? It's about reacting from these things. Like I said, credit to the boys for how they tactically set up today, especially with the front 3 / I'm going to call them the front 5 in Xhaka and Ramsey, with how they pressed, how they nullified the defenders, forcing them to go forward and kick the ball long, and we're just regaining it. Shout out to Davinson Sanchez because he put in a performance for Spurs. He's probably the only one with Dembele and Reason that can leave the field as a Spurs player with any pride in their shirt. So yeah, we did our thing, but it's about doing this more often than not. And could you say you could be in this situation? Could you say the next 5 games, honestly, Arsenal are going to show heart? You could say that about previous Arsenal sides. You can't say that about this side. And I'm not trying to put a damper on things. I'm very happy with one. Like, I'm calling friends' phones and they're not answering. Like, it's normally me who does that. But yeah, I'm just trying to give you guys the real, to be honest. But yeah, man, guys, the Ludicrous, I'm signing out. Get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest of it. Thank you very much for watching, of course.